Alright, hi, this may be a little bit of a different vibe than usual, so want to make sure that everybody knows what they're getting into with this. This game is called Gris. Uh, Gris, French for gray. It's a very artistic game, but when I did a test run, I immediately saw a lot of things that could be analogized into stages of grief, depression, anxiety. So I figured doing a little bit of a, yeah. I figured if I end up being a little bit of a mess during this because of what I'm talking about, I don't want to, I don't want to be full gaze upon me, you know? But this is going to be a very personal look. And Discord should not be making noises. Why is Discord making noise? There we go. This is a personal journey for me just because I've been dealing with depression and anxiety. Hi, Heartware. I've been dealing with these things for a little less than 15 years, a decade and a half since I got diagnosed. This is personal experience, and I'll say many times, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. This is just what I've seen and what I think my perspective can bring to the table on this game. So without further ado, I have a doctorate. I'm not that kind of doctor. So this is a very real thing that you can feel when you first get diagnosed, when you first hear about something that's happened, if you're dealing with grief, or if anxiety finally kicks in. It feels like somewhere safe has just crumbled beneath you. It feels like you've lost your voice. And just trying to find a bit of color in the world, something to hold you there. Somewhere safe to land can be honestly more of a challenge than getting the diagnosis in the first place. Depression is an illness that tells you it doesn't exist, that it's your fault. And it will punish you when you are low. It steals your voice. You have trouble very often telling somebody that you are dealing with these things. And right now, just like if you have a keyboard and you can't even get somebody to move in a game, you sometimes start getting executive dysfunction, where it's harder for you to make yourself do things, even if they are the most basic things. And sometimes you get up and there's not really anything to see. There's just, well, it's like all the color, all the details of the world have just been washed away. You're not really able to see very much. It's a thick fog, and this is a beautiful representation of that. And sometimes you even just stumble, just trying to walk. Eventually you might be able to start running again, get a little bit of momentum. But things can still be featureless. You might not be able to tell anybody at first, and that is one of the hardest things. I don't think people who are neurotypical, who don't have depression, I feel like it's something that's not understood. You're being strangled by your own mind. There's not really that much you can do other than try and keep going, and reaching out to ask for help, to ask, please notice my pain, is one of the hardest steps. If it's not just depression, but anxiety or grief. If we're dealing with loss, it's very easy to package it up as, this is something I have to deal with later. This is something I can't deal with now. And that first step is always going to be the hardest. I also think it's a beautiful metaphor that we're seeing ruins. We haven't seen a single intact... Oh. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. We haven't seen a single intact building. And also, this is a pretty important thing. I don't know if people realize. We talk about getting over depression, getting over grief. Sometimes it's not a linear path. Sometimes it is having to go back, having to retrace your steps. And that can be, especially for people who were told, no, you have to get better now. You have to become better right now. It can be actually damaging, because all you can think is, why am I not better? Why am I not able to do this thing? Why am I not who everyone thinks I should be? It's harder than we really give anybody credit for. Harder than we give ourselves credit for at times. And sometimes, unfortunately, that denial, that no, I'll get better if I just focus a little bit harder, or I'll get better if I just don't think about it. Or maybe somebody else will deal with this so I don't have to. It's not necessarily wrong to feel that way, but it is painful to think that there's nothing you can do. It's even more painful to think that other people believe that there's something that you can do. So it's a silent disease. I can't emphasize how much courage it really does take to let people know for the first time that you are dealing with this illness. To see somewhere that you loved, that you felt like was home, and it seems like all the color's been stripped away. And then sometimes the color comes back, but it's wrong. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of the Kubler-Ross model, the 5 stages of grief, where it can be used for your own, dealing with your own trauma, dealing with the impending loss or the recent loss of a loved one, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And once you start realizing, oh, there's nothing I can do to make myself better all of a sudden, it starts becoming a question of why can't I? And sometimes there's just not an answer. And it's as silly as it sounds, to get out from that low place, that silence, where everything is just closed off. Sometimes the next place you go is, funnily enough, associated with the color red. Anger. Anger is not always bad. Anger gives us momentum. And even when I was at my lowest points, when I felt completely isolated, it was something I could hold on to, that I could still get angry about things that I wasn't doing or things I saw other people not doing. a reminder that I could still feel. And I think that that's really beautifully portrayed here. Jagged edges, hostile landscape, a red so dark it's almost black, but it's still something. And when there's something, sometimes it's the foothold to start getting better. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Doesn't mean it doesn't suck. So let's talk about what it's like to have anger at depression. Consider when you're depressed, you're dealing with a cat making noises in the background. Oh, I was not expecting to find this back here. I guess go this way. But when you're depressed and you finally can feel something again, for me, it was always that warning sign of, oh, I spiraled. And very often, that anger is directed inward. With grief, it might be directed at a doctor for not being able to do more, or the person who you might be grieving either at the time or prematurely. Like, why did you not do more? Why didn't you take better care of yourself? Why are you putting me through this? It's painful. And just like right here, it swirls up in storms. It knocks you back. It's a very hostile place to be. But I would argue it's a necessary one. You are a weird little dude. And anger's valuable. It lets you know that you still see things as the way they could be. That you see something as unequal or unfair. And sometimes it's all you can do just to hold on against the storm. But finding safe havens in the middle of that, finding people who are willing to deal with your anger when it arises, your pain, because it's very hard to argue that anger and depression, anxiety, grief, that it doesn't come from pain. You would not be feeling that way if you were not legitimately hurting. And that's another source of it, honestly. There's this feeling that you've done nothing to deserve this, or you haven't done enough to prevent it. It's extremely hard to reason against that. Reason against that anger, because it often says something that feels very right. But just like the landscape that we can see in the game, it can't sustain you forever. It's exhausting. It pushes you backwards. And sometimes it even feels like the environment, existence, where you are is fighting you. It can be completely normal, but it can still well up out of nowhere. It's something that shouldn't be... Oh, that's creepy. It's something that shouldn't be demonized as much as it is. But it's also something that shouldn't be dwelled in. Anger is a stepping stone. And sometimes it's a needed stepping stone, but yeah, no, it is a little spooky. But if you can't keep going through that anger, it bogs you down. And you just keep getting hit by it. You just keep getting angrier and angrier. So what I tried to do when I was first dealing with anger and dealing with grief, finding a space where I could hide from that. A space that didn't need me to be calm or quiet, that just let me feel what I was feeling. And even sometimes it's useful to be able to break things that might have been helpful before but are no longer. Glad to see gamer instincts are still active even in the midst of talking about this. And sometimes, you can even, just like this, anger can give you strength. A safe space can give you strength. It can give you what you need to be able to keep moving, but that doesn't mean that it's any less destructive or any faster at healing. What I'm saying is, don't be ashamed to be angry, to feel that. There's a reason why people can identify with it. Is there anything over here first? All right, down we go. sometimes you hit places that have no color again. I even like the fact that in this game they have just such different gasps for the different areas. This one sounds almost tearful. But also, if you look below, almost all of the detail in the world is gone. There's just these fluttering shapes. We don't know if they're birds or butterflies, but it's upside down and you are faceless there. Well, down we go again. And I think that that's, well, I think that's a story hint. It seems like someone's passed or someone is grieving. And we can even see just here the windmills, the fact that there's not even any anger to fuel this character right now. Sometimes it's almost a relief when we get back to anger. But I love how strangely charming these little creatures are. And I also like the fact that we're not seeing their faces, we're not seeing what they are, they're just there. That's a very real way to see depression. Things are there around you. Aesthetically, I do really love the fact that this is dark corners, that this is this is a place that feels like it's mourning with you for whatever it is that's happened. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. And this is something really important as well, just how much it might feel like after nothingness, anger's a comfort. And it's hard not to understand why you'd want to get back to it like that. And I do love the fact that this game has so much just it's not entirely forward, and I think, as silly as it sounds, a platformer was the right choice for this. You have to have false starts, you have to go backwards at times. Yeah, there's not really anything else to say about the anger side of depression or grief or anything else. It's something that is intensely personal and does need to be taken a lot more seriously. You don't feel that pain as something that is just something that's just for show. It's very personal and traumatic. And I think some of the least helpful advice I ever got was to stop being angry, to take it like a champ, to put on a stiff upper lip. If you have somebody who might be dealing with depression, might be dealing with that pain, you might not intentionally be invalidating it, but still hurts. It hurts to feel this way, and it hurts to have somebody that you know not see your experiences as real, as valid, or I think that there's also the fact that anger can be the motor. It can be the catalyst, but there has to be some kind of intentionality to make that anger mean something again. It's very easy to have meaning stolen. Not meaningfully, not with purpose behind it, but it's yours, it's your pain. And being told that it's not deserving of consideration, that it's not really real, that can break a friendship, a relationship. It can break trust. Hey Shrine, you came in just as I was, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about doing ASMR. It feels very lonely, for lack of a better way to put that. ASMR is almost, you can say it's even intentionally lonely. But this was a serious enough one that I didn't want to have, joking in the background. It felt like a disservice. Guess we're not finding anything over there right now. Well, it's not just about depression. It's hopefully, if I'm reading this game right, there should be steps, healing, acceptance, finding comfort in a lack of control, which is very hard for me personally. But sometimes that's what needs to happen. I don't think it's weird, thank you. Oh, that's spooky. But I don't think that one actually served any purpose to break. And that's also really interesting to see. Good luck on your stream, bud. Oh, we found a friend. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you, buddy. I said it earlier. I really do like the fact that there's not any other people. There's little creatures, but it's not. It's isolated. It's very lonely in this game. All we have left are these broken statues to see faces on. Perhaps I am reading a bit too deep into it, but I think that fits very well with the theme. I suppose we're gonna have to go up. Even that wasn't enough. So this was definitely a very awkward thing to deal with when I was figuring out, okay, how do I deal with this disease that I'm being told I'm never going to get rid of, that it's going to be with me as long as I exist. Being told that there was this nihilistic way to view things, that you shouldn't try. This almost idealization of the anger stage, the harm you do to yourself and others, this perpetual motion machine of trying to make people understand your hurt. It can be incredibly damaging. And finding something beyond the anger, seeing things growing, seeing change. Sometimes you almost are, this may be a little bit of how I personally was dealing with stuff, but I started taking care of plants, animals, anything I could find, of if I can make this live, if I can make this okay, then maybe I'll be okay. Maybe, please. And we finally see a bird. We finally see other living things. So if we're continuing on with the theory that this game is built around the 5 stages of grief, After denial and anger comes bargaining. Give me just a little bit more time. Give me just a little bit more I can do. Suppose I can't get up there. Oops. And I think that this is something that's really often misunderstood. These 5 stages, they don't always happen in a sequence, one right after the other. And just like we can see with these colors, red's still there even if it's not in the foreground. There's shades of it coming through at certain moments. Oh. That's new. And bargaining is not always about religion, as I've seen a lot of people describe it. It can be bargaining with yourself. If I find meaning here, if I do these little things, then I'll be okay. I can make this go away. Some of the most compassionate and intelligent people I have ever met have been dealing with anxiety or depression. And it's not to say that they were motivated by entirely self-interest, but having something to give you meaning can be one of the most powerful things that you can get. Having a reason to get up, a reason to still care. But also having this idea that we are transactional as individuals. We aren't. We're made to feel things. We're made to be this mess of hormones. There's nothing about us that needs to get fixed like a machine. And that's not to say that medication can't help. But just because you're self-motivated doesn't mean that it's inherently wrong or that you're not allowed to feel like, if I do something like this, perhaps, maybe I'll feel better. If that's what you need, that's what you need. And mental health is a disaster zone of trying to find things that work for you. I'd say that this stage of bartering with yourself, bartering with the world, bartering with society when you're depressed. It can yield some incredible things. It can yield some incredible coping mechanisms. But on their own, just like anger can move you forward, you can imagine how this would get toxic. This needing to change yourself or change your situation. I'd even say that some of the people that I've become friends with now, and they do know this about how it all started, I met them because I was trying to find meaning, something, anything to do to make myself feel better. Something to change how I felt as a person. And when it's grief, you might run into it with, please just let me have a little bit more time with them. Please just let them have a few more good days. Please just let me have a few more good days. And sometimes the bargaining stage will take you to places that you don't expect to go. So, for example, one of my bargaining stages was what got me to end up in Japan and teach. I wanted to find meaning. Something, anything. And sometimes with bargaining, it is okay to be a little selfish, a little sad. For example, when I first adopted my cat, it was because I didn't want to be alone in my apartment anymore. Bargaining it's a very useful step, but it can't be overstated just how much of your value isn't necessarily tied up only in these broken little bits. These if I get better, if I do better. Sometimes we don't even realize that we have people looking up to us. And it can be very hard with depression to see that sometimes. To see how you have helped other people, where you can only see how they've helped you. And when they're gone, it almost feels like a punishment. Or when something changes. It's very easy to wrap yourself up in what you can give to try and change something, to try and make things a little easier. And some of us find purpose in service, in helping, but just as often it breaks people who aren't able to give what society expects of them. Or what their friends and family expect. There's no right or wrong way to be a person. But depression, that little voice in your head, it will tell you that you're being a person wrong. You need to change, you need to be better, you need to do this or do that. Sometimes you can't do what society expects of you. And that needs to go by the wayside. Son of a gun. Every time you jump, it changes. Alright. Did not realize that. I can't even say that VTubing hasn't been a mildly transactional thing for me. Because, well, if I can make people laugh, I feel like I'm adding worth to myself as a person. son of a gun. No! Put me back in the leaves. Alright. Suppose we're gonna have to go this way. And that's something I think trips a lot of people who are in that bargaining stage, that I need to become more than what I am right now stage. When things don't go to plan, it's hard to change, to reassess. When you get focused on finding the true way to solve a puzzle, or the true way to be of service, or what you're truly meant to do, all this other crap. When it comes to depression, sometimes you need to accept there is no greater purpose beyond what you make. Sometimes you need to look without leaping. You need to guess, hope that you land. And that can be one of the scariest things to do. I promise you, if you feel like your own brain is this convoluted riddle, you're not the only one. But it is hard to see other people who, especially right now, there's all this discussion about, oh, I found where I'm really meant to be. We see idealized pictures of people who don't seem like they ever have a bad day because they curate themselves. They don't show that. With depression and anxiety, grief, you lose control over how you present yourself sometimes. And that can be terrifying. This feeling that it is always out of your hands. I feel like I'm not explaining this part very well. really guess we can't go that way. I also want to make it clear, sometimes I don't mind people who curate themselves, but sometimes you can't hold yourself to that any more than you can hold yourself to making your brain produce the right chemicals, the right neurons. Or make somebody's body suddenly get better. You can't put those things on yourself. You can't make yourself the bargaining chip. And just like you can't make yourself the bargaining chip, you can't make yourself the one responsible for fixing everything, for if I had just been there more often, if I had just tried this, tried that, it would have worked. When you have depression, that sort of thinking, it'll be what rips you apart in the end. You can't hold on to that. Oh? Oh, we get to double jump. Sorry, I got a little bit absorbed. This is just a breathtakingly beautiful game. also do love how, before with anger, it had ripped everything apart. There was nothing growing. But here, we're seeing things that, even though the place that they might have been is ruined, in some sense of the word, that there's still beauty there. And one day, I'll play a platformer where you can hear me normally yelling about things that aren't, you know, depression adjacent. Jump. I guess it only happens at certain locations. Maybe only when you can see the butterflies? Shouldn't have second guessed myself on that one. There we go. And up. I really hope the creators aren't watching and being like, ah yes, another armchair psychoanalyst. Or God forbid any therapists watching this. This is the liveliest I think we've heard the music of this game. Shoot. Well, gosh darn and dang it. We can even see this need for upwards motion. This chasing something, hoping desperately that maybe if we can just get there, Maybe that will be enough. Oh, and now we have the black butterflies. I think I could tell what you're about. Oh. You. There we go. Remember what I said about depression being something that almost seems alive. Almost seems actively malicious. You might still have all the tools you got when you were trying to get better. You might have grown, might have found things to fuel you besides just anger. But that doesn't change the fact that there's still something there. Sometimes all you can do is just try and find your footing. Curses. Okay. Oh, I can't just let it carry me. All right. I see your game. Come on. Come on. And sometimes just as quick as it appeared, depression might go away, anxiety might subside. You might feel a little bit normal again. That doesn't mean it's gone away. Subside, I think, is a very good word for what can happen. You might find happiness and meaning for months, even years. You might have a new hobby, friends who provide support that you didn't have before. And you might even just tell yourself, that's it. I'm healed. I'm better. Or you might get angry wondering why you aren't all better. And sometimes even in the middle of bargaining, finding something new to hold on to. Sometimes anger might be a powerful motivator. And there it is. Somewhere familiar, you've gone through the disbelief, the denial, the anger, the trying to make something better. And it hasn't worked. That place, that person, it's not the same anymore. And sometimes it feels like it won't ever be the same. So it's very important to understand that depression in the stages of grief and depression, the illness, aren't the same thing. In the stages of grief, it's it's recognizing powerlessness. It's recognizing that things haven't worked, that you haven't been able to make things magically better, that you have a cat who's very, very angry that he's not getting attention. All right. Very, very brief break. Elam? Yeah. Yeah, you've been very good and very quiet this whole time. Do you want to come up here? Can you come here? Sorry, this is more important than life itself. Come here. Elam. No? You don't like hearing me analyze a game in relation to depression and mental illness, anxiety? I don't know. Oh, I wonder if the mic can pick up the fact that he's purring. I don't think so. Darn it. He's a rumbly baby, though. Oh, I love this cat. And that's... it's the power of a little rat cat. I do like the fact that it seems like at this point in the game there's almost nothing that we can do. There's things that once were familiar, bright. They're washed out. Not gray, but different. And when we fall into the water, well, oh, I suppose it's only deeper water. Just that faded little funk. Curses. Things aren't quite enough anymore sometimes. The things that brought you joy don't take you as far as you used to go. If we're talking about grief, then in that sense, depression is powerlessness. But in the context of the illness of depression, it's losing control of even the things that you had It's not this grayness that's washing over you. That apathy, that can be dealt with, in my experience, far more easily than this consuming sorrow in depression. Which all but eats you alive. Listen to how in the sound design, even the color, even the noises are muted. Reds washed out, greens washed out. It's despondency. This terrifying feeling that it's not ever going to be enough, that everything you've tried, it's not working. And people are telling you that you should have tried harder. Just get over it is probably the combination of words I would say that held me in depression the longest. And this is the part of depression that I feel is misrepresented most often. Because it's not an unwillingness to do anything, it's incapacity. Just like a voice that's been stolen, it's the ability to see other things, or even if you can see them, they're muted. And sometimes the only way you can go is down. You just lose more and more detail and color. And even when we finally are assuming that we've hit a wall, there's always deeper. It's always lower. this is the depression that I hate to see in movies. Because while it's true that sometimes artists have had incredible work come out of their suffering, this idea that the suffering itself is beautiful. It can be turned into something beautiful, but on its own, it just hurts, isolates. Suppose that's not breaking anytime soon. Feel like we're missing something. And honestly, sometimes when you are in this place, this absence, sometimes it's comfortable because you know what it is, you know what to expect. Doesn't mean it's comfortable or fun, but it's predictable. And that's the part that I think is the worst thing to deal with when you're living with depression, when you're engaging with the process of grief. This idea that this is normal, that this is what I deserve, or this is the way it's always going to be. I'm sorry, we have a very angry baby man in the background. And this is where I'd say depression has the most power over you, this despondency. I wonder. Thanks, Fifth. Oh, that's wild. Thanks, Fifth. Also, I deeply appreciate everybody's restraint in not trying to make me ooh-woo during this. Let's try over here. Maybe that will be a little bit more.
Drink water, you dehydrated bitch.
Thank you, Mercury, for ruining the mood. That we aren't able. It would not. Buddy, do you want a soft shaky shake? This way you are getting cat ASMR. Yes. Hello? Hello? Oh, he wants it. He wants it bad. Okay. Boo boo? Get you to come up here. You're hearing this, right? That's a good boy. Yes, you are. This is an excellent cat. I wouldn't necessarily advise that anybody dealing with depression automatically seek out and assume getting an animal will make it better, but having something just so that way you aren't alone can be incredibly comforting. Okay. Hmm. There we go. But I wouldn't say that it's wrong to have this desire for a pet even when you're depressed. But you need things to make sure that if you aren't okay, they will be okay. Hmm. Suppose that's not going to get me any higher. I don't see. Oh, is that? No, it doesn't make that crack any larger. Hmm. Perhaps getting right to the edge. There we go. I think that that's a very good framing device for this desolation sort of depression, where you're willing to use yourself as a stepping stone. When you're willing to dive deeper just because maybe it will work. When you're willing to chase just one thing, hoping that it'll be enough. willingness to change yourself, not because it's who you want to be, but because it might help you accomplish a goal. This desire to be someone, anyone else. I still remember just thinking to myself when I was in this desolation, my own personal version of it. It was hard not to just think this wouldn't be happening if I was one of my classmates. This is happening because I'm wrong somehow. Suppose we can't go down there yet. And it's then that you start thinking maybe the depression is right. And you start listening to this thing in your head that has spent months, years, decades telling you that you are wrong, that it's your fault somehow. When you have depression, it takes a very long time to like yourself at all. And I was lucky enough that it happened at all. Oh, you're catching on to the sad vibes, huh, buddy? Yeah, we're okay. Yeah? Okay. Yes, buddy? He is so mad. No, no boo-boo, those are hair clips. Oh, there I am. No, buddy. Oh, I see that, Real Talk with Buttons is being protested by a tiny little baby man. Whoever would have guessed? Whoever would have guessed that the rottenest little baby man would be the one demanding attention? Can I help you, sir? People who do ASMR stuff for a living probably don't have a bastard cat. Oh. Please stop trying to disconnect my headphones, buddy. Just leads me back here. Right, let's try. Oh. There we go. Yes, hello, Ely. There we go. Oh, this is surreal. Buddy. Okay, you were scratching something you're allowed to. Oh my gosh. Is there something going on my... I don't have sticky keys enabled. What is making that noise? All right. Let's check up here. Oh. Right away. Charming. Hmm. Curses. Okay, we'll come back to that one later. I'm glad that the vibe is immaculate, even if I am not. I've never really been shy about the fact that I deal with depression, but I've never necessarily talked about it quite this frankly and openly. No, crud. The true platforming challenge. Being able to double jump around a corner. I would very much appreciate it if whatever it was that was making that noise stopped. I've got an idea. Let's see, we go through here, and there should be those butterflies. Total. All right. Let's see. I would very much appreciate it if that beeping stopped. Give this a shot. Probably won't work, but no, okay. Gotcha. Oh my. Oh! Turtle. The thing that brought us down here's gone back into its shell. I think that this might be my headset very annoyingly telling me that it's running low on battery. This is the most complete we've ever seen this statue. But sometimes at the bottom is where we do find what it is that's hurting us, or what it is that we can do to be a little bit better. It's not something that everybody benefits from thinking. But this is why I see depression as almost something malicious. Start thinking you're getting better. And even then, that's not enough. It's absolutely gorgeous. I do wonder something. Give me one moment. I'm going to try and see if perhaps I can charge my headphones at the same time as using them. No, 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 headphones. You don't get to do this to me. No, not right now. All right. Ah, I still can. And you can still hear the cat screaming. Buddy, what has wronged you so? Alright, it was the headphones. I'm sorry, Elam. I'm sorry that I maligned you. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Boo-boo, what's wrong? Okay, but what's wrong? Well, he wants his stuff. Oh, this is a hungry cat. I don't know why I am surprised. We've hit almost rock bottom. There's only a few little bits of light even to guide our way in the shade. I think this might have been the way we came. Well, I definitely could go ahead and talk about how being unable to find a way out is a very topical situation for being depressed. Yes, buddy, I know. I know. Someone please help this dumb cat. Yes, hello. Did I get turned around down there? Is that... Should I have been going this way? This looks unfamiliar. Hi, buddy. He's smacking the microphone with his tail and his little baby butt. Someone please help. No. No, you don't get to step on the keyboard, buddy. Someone please help me. Help me from my menace cat. Save me. Oh. That's the first jump scare that we've had in this game. Buddy, this is perhaps the least appropriate time for you to be being a little baby man. Oh no, okay. Can't get away from it. Someone please save me from my fucking cat. First time I've sworn on this stream. You did it, buddy. You made me do it. Good job, Elam. Achievement unlocked. Eel. Don't know how I feel. And I'm eelin' good. Oh, so we're above there. Right there. And finally getting to pull yourself back up. It isn't necessarily quite the same as you might have expected after you get through that first little bit of disbelief. It takes work, pulling, and struggle to get yourself back out of that shadow sometimes. And sometimes you have to go back into it to be okay. To have a chance of finding something different, something better. Suppose. Suppose we'll have to go look up there. But when you go through all those steps, all those emotions, stages, growing in ways you might not have expected, things look different. Things look changed. Things look like they have a screamy boy trying to hit the escape button. Boo-boo. He's so mad and I don't know why. Buddy. Buddy. Boo-boo. Oh. This is fascinating. So, if we're going off of the 5 stages of grief model, then we're reaching acceptance. Acceptance, I think, is the hardest thing to describe, because when we think of acceptance, it kind of brings to mind some form of success, some form of beating the odds. But with depression and grief, anxiety, it's not about beating it. It's about getting to the point where you can move on and acknowledge that maybe you don't have control over what happens next. Maybe you don't have control over yourself as much as you want. You don't have control over the lives of the people you love. And stages of grief, stages of this trauma, they can come back in unexpected ways. Acceptance is something that it has to look different for every person. No one situation is the same. There's no one path to heal to get better, as much as we might wish it. Suppose that's not going to work. You can't think of depression as something that is a failing or can be fixed. You can't think of grief as that. It's a part of the way humans think. Being depressed doesn't make you any less impressive for what you managed to accomplish, even if you feel like it was for selfish reasons. It doesn't make your anger any less valid. Doesn't mean that you aren't any less desolated. It doesn't mean you aren't going to have bad days. But the thing is, humans are resilient. We grow, we learn. Pain doesn't last forever. It doesn't break us in the way that we sometimes think it will. And sometimes you're gonna have bad ideas, plans that don't work out. You're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna feel like you aren't getting any better. Or even sometimes you feel like you're getting worse. That's okay. It's not fun, but you're allowed to feel the way that you feel. The people who love you will understand. And the people that don't understand, they love the idea of you. But you're more than an idea, you're more than what you have to offer in service to others. You're allowed to hurt and be sad. To have days where waking up is all you can do. That doesn't mean that it's any less valuable. Well, I guess up's the option here. I wonder if I can get both of them at the same time. And I'm gonna be real. Perseverance is part of it. But perseverance isn't all of it. You take the things that you learn even in your depression. Things that made you angry, they're allowed to make you angry, no matter how much you can laugh and smile now. The things that give you worth, at least in that little part of your head, you can still derive value from them. Derive it from yourself, for yourself. If you break things, it's not the end of the world. If you guess wrong, it's not the end of the world. If you backslide, if you make mistakes, that's okay. There we go.
Stretch.
That's another thing I just remembered. Depression, it's trying to isolate you. It's trying to tell you you're a bother. But you can ask people, even people who you only know a little bit, can you check in on me? It's okay to ask for that. And if people are hurting you, it's okay to pass them by.
Your posture is regrettable. Concentrate on sitting straight.
No! You don't get better all in one big jump. You get better bit by bit. You get better by asking others to help you be better. And it doesn't cure you. There's no magic wand. Patience and kindness are the best friends that you could have. while you're trying to heal, while you're trying to become yourself again. Having somewhere to escape to. Somewhere it's safe to be surreal and a little off-kilter. Can help immensely. Find spaces, and I know that because of certain events in the modern world, safe space has become kind of a bad way to phrase it, but find somewhere that you feel safe being imperfect, even if it's just in your car after work, in your kitchen while you're cooking. Give yourself excuses to not be perfect. To do things that maybe you didn't think you could do before. And I know that it's awkward to try and meet new people, make new friends when you're already an adult. Or when you're dealing with something that you've never dealt with before. But there's always a chance that that person that you want to talk to wants to talk to you back. That maybe you can be there for them, they can be there for you. Suppose that one's already loose then. Oh, crud. We're deeply unkind to ourselves when we're dealing with something that's outside the norm. And even sometimes if we know what's going on, it's very easy to be unkind to those who are dealing with things beyond what we know as the norm. It hurts. It hurts to feel like your feelings are being invalidated. It hurts not to have anybody. It hurts to stay silent on depression. Get this one day. There we go. And sometimes you find your voice again. I can't really describe how amazing it feels. After you've lost your metaphorical voice, after depression took something from you, grief took something from you, to suddenly feel like yourself again. There's nothing like it in the world. Over. Oh. That's different. Hi, Elam. Although someone has definitely discovered his voice. Hi, Elam. Hi. Hello, Boo Boo. Is there a reason you're this angry, buddy? Yes, you're very baby, sir. He's demanding munch and crunch. But the problem is, I can't see shit right now, Ely. Back down, I guess we go. Maybe this is my sign. I should not do ASMR in future. Because there will be one angry little brat cat who desperately wants to have all of the attention for himself. Is this what you want, Boo Boo? Yes, Boo Boo? Well, guess we'll have to go up this way. Oh. Oh. Crud. Anytime I have my perspective changed in a game, I always have issues sizing up jumps and stuff. Back down we go. Okay. There we go. Oh, look at that. All right. I seem to be stuck in a loop. Now to find out, how do I get out of here? Ah. There we go. Oh, if there was ever going to be wall art, this would be it. There we go. Hi, Elon. Can't sing in midair, it seems. Darn it. Well, I guess that we go back to where we just were. Oop. Let's see. There really is. Alright, well, no need to panic. Let's try this again. He's so mad. Oh. Hello, friend. Hi, Elam. Thank you for your help, big weird spider. Right, fingers crossed that we can finish this one tonight. A scarab. Come on. Come on back down. Oh no. Oh, there we go. I really hope we can finish this game soon, because otherwise Elam probably will murder me. Maybe in my sleep, maybe while I'm awake, who knows? This is a very angry cat. Oh. Let's go. This should be enough. Even if it's not much, I do appreciate that there's a chance to interact with the world, make it change ever so slightly. And think back to those first few levels. The desert, how everything was just barren. Compare it to this, where there's so much more. And we have a character that's able to appreciate that there are depths. there are lows that you can reach that make the highs all the sweeter. And no, that's when you're in the middle of feeling depressed, that's cold comfort. But you'll never wonder when you're happy again. The key to living with depression, with grief, that sorrow, it's finding some way to make it beautiful again. Alright, I think we're heading towards the home stretch. And when you're feeling like you've gotten better, this might never be too far away. That desolation, that little voice saying, you deserve it, or you don't deserve happiness. And sometimes it sends you back to square one. You feel like the world might as well go away. But it's never really that simple. Once you've gotten your way out a little bit, you'll always have a foothold. Something, no matter how small. When somebody says that you're depressed, so you need to work at being happy, it sounds trite. To live with depression, it's to work every second for happiness. And it's okay if things that were familiar, that brought you comfort, if they're never familiar again. We're dealing with a heavy topic matter, so I don't want to, have a model go rogue in the middle of that. But when you get back to those places that felt familiar, It's okay if they're never familiar again. And it's okay if you have to rebuild them to make it okay. It's okay if you can see the cracks. Okay to give yourself color again, to repaint the things that are broken. It's okay to keep moving, and it's okay to stop if you need to. Depression takes work. It takes patience and kindness. So, be kind to yourself. And if you need to let go of something to go somewhere else, to move on from that sorrow, that pain, it's okay. Okay. Yeah, I was not expecting this one to get quite so heavy. It's... well... oh... This may have been a little bit more self-serving than I intended it to be. With the,
Drink water, you dehydrated bitch!
This was definitely a bit more self-serving than I originally intended it to be. No. It's more... I'm glad to see a story with such clear grief involved, even if we're not sure who's grieving who. You don't need to know the whole story. You can tell bits and pieces. And sometimes you can see yourself in a game, and that's what changes it. But yeah, this definitely felt a little bit more self-serving than my streams normally are. Oh, I deserve some rest. Elam deserves some food. You know what we all deserve after that? One, go get yourself some ice cream. And we all deserve a shaky shaky. We all deserve a very close to microphone ASMR Elam purring shaky shaky moment. Hi, boo boo. Hi. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Right here. Right here. Little gremlin man. Alright, that was heavier than I intended to really do when I picked up Gris from a Humble Bundle like a year ago. Oh, he's scrumphin' indeed. Yeah, I genuinely, before I did the like, okay, how does this run? Will it look good on stream? I didn't know jack about this game. And, now I do. Oh, boy. Yes, I know what. I'm sure I want to exit. Okay. Yes, he is scrumphin' indeed. We are scrumphin' in here. So. You'll have me back as my regular 3D model on Thursday with Stardew Valley or maybe even a little bit of Minecraft, but this was something I feel like maybe I needed. And shit, if it helped you guys understand, you know, me better, or it helped you guys, you know, feel comfortable, or even just, oh, I need sleepy time. I hope it helped. Oh, you've been doing a learn about that? You've been doing a learn about that, Fifth? All right. Okay. But yes, should have some nice, fun, not heavy shit going on Thursday. And, yeah. Feels wrong to have silence. To those of you who showed up, this is a lot closer to who I am. This little audio in the background. If you're new here, thank you for showing up, even if it's just the once, but I wouldn't say no to a follow. Thank you. There's a lot more of you in the chat than it's saying on OBS, so holy crap! And for those of you who are new, that's Elam. That's my little rotten baby cat. I love him so much. But for now, get some ice cream, sleep, relax, hug something, pillow or animal. And now we get to, oh, I really hope he's still active. Oh boy. I really hope that he's still going. No! Fretz! Fretz is offline! No! Alright, okay, we gotta check who's gone line. Who's gone online? None of you are... Oh! Screaming. Screaming 5 ever. Okay. Alright. Bide's offline. Pretz is offline. Warrior's offline. Shit. Okay. We can do this. Browse. VTuber. We're not doing Armoranth. Let's look for a little. You know what? For those of you who came here for ASMR. Oh no, it's lewd ASMR. Oh no. Shit. There's nothing. Ah! Live channels. Okay. Oh god, Kayson's live. I can't. You know what? I'll send us to Kayson. Let's go raid a Kayson. Thanks, Fifth, for giving me the out. Oh, seriously, thank you all for coming out. Let's go get a raid so I can go to sleep. Yeet!